We'll try to take some of them. First question comes from Mahmoud G. Let's see if I can read off the iPad. Maybe easier for my eyes. All right. Says, may Allah bless you and preserve your family and allow us to be companions of this life in the next. I mean, inshallah, I plan to visit in the next couple of months. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah bless you as well, akhi. Jazakallahu khairan. You're more than welcome, inshallah ta'ala. Initials RA from Boston, Massachusetts. And also, last brother or sister, someone gave shout out from Bosnia or Bosnia. We say, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah bless the Muslims there. Keep the Muslims firm. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make the Muslims united there and bring them together upon the truth, make their hearts firm upon the truth. And may Allah support the Muslims in Bosnia and any other part of the world may Allah support them and protect them from any oppressive people. Ameen. Jazakallah khair for your time and knowledge. What was your thesis at the University of Medina and how did you defend it? My thesis was تحقيق ودراسة جزء من الكتاب الدراية في تخريج أحاديث الهداية للحافظ ابن حجر رحمه الله تعالى. There's a section of the defense on the channel that was uploaded over 5 years ago. Yeah, and perhaps in the future, I mean, maybe we'll discuss it more. Maybe we'll do a study of the book. And it's a very interesting fact, since you asked that question, very interesting fact. There are many people who say, and I don't want to get sidetracked, but it's interesting that question came up. Many people, they come and they say, well, degrees don't mean anything. So what? You have a degree. Big deal. You have a doctor's degree, that means nothing. You can still be a deviant. You can still be from Ahlul Bid'ah. You can still be ignorant. There are brothers who didn't graduate, who didn't study, who are more knowledgeable than brothers who have degrees. Degrees mean nothing. Khairan. And to a large extent, not 100%, but to a large extent, we agree with that speech. That degrees don't make everything. Degrees don't mean anything to that extent of falsehood and truth, knowledge, science, and giving back. Doesn't mean anything. However, the fork in the road is that, as we've explained many years ago, that isn't conducive to learning and to knowledge and to tarbiyah of a community. Telling people degrees don't mean anything. You're not going to say that to any community, any people, let alone to predominant community or community predominantly afflicted with people not being academic, not studying, not graduating, having broken homes, having a lot of dysfunctionality. You're not going to go say that to them. You're not going to talk to people who have a history of alcoholism and say to them, being sober means nothing. You could still be sober and you could still beat up your wife. You could be sober and you could be a bad father. Some of the best fathers, they drink and they love their wives, they love their sons. Okay, some of the best mechanics are drunks. Some of the best people are the people who do drugs. Some of the best musicians and artists, they have drug addiction. You're not going to say that to a people who have a history of that. All right, you're not going to go to a people who have been taught don't go to school, and a period of time in which they were physically prevented from going to school. So you talk about the inner city urban community, all right? Anybody can be in the urban city, but let's just talk about black people in the inner city. You're not talking black people from the suburbs, from rich history. We're talking about black people from in the hood, okay? What do they come from? Are you going to give them a lecture? Don't go to school. Don't get a degree. Degrees aren't everything. Degrees don't make sense. Degrees don't make you or break you. If that was the truth, absolutely, that's not what you're going to say to them, because they already have that past. You're going to spend all of your time and effort pulling them out of that mentality. Go to school. Get a degree. Graduate. Be something. Establish something. That's the first flaw with that theory and that way of thinking and talking. Number two is, and this is what made me think about it, is that me, myself, out of all of the thousands of videos on my channels, How many of those channels am I on there flaunting my degrees? This is a serious question. Do you ever see me making a video flaunting, saying I got this degree, look at this book that I wrote? It's hundreds of pages that I wrote, not in English, in Arabic. You guys are translating books, and I'm writing books in Arabic. You ever see us do that? You ever see me going around talking, I have a master's degree, I have a master's degree, I have a master's degree? Did you ever hear that? Oh, I graduated from Medina, he didn't. I graduated from Medina, he didn't. I was the first American student to go to the Magistrate of Hadith. I was the first American student to graduate. I went to the same school that Sheikh Muqbil went to. I had same teachers. Some of my teachers were Sheikh Muqbil's teachers. You hear me going around saying that? Do you hear anybody going around saying I was the first American student to go right to the college without studying in the language program? And I'm talking about Somali students from America or Canada. I'm talking about Negro American. They don't have an exotic background. I did not study Arabic in Medina. No one's going around flaunting and waving degrees around. So this is just another example of how they inflate things and how they exaggerate and how they make illusionary smoke screens to hinder the people from the reality of the truth. They say, you're talking about degrees, degrees, degrees. No one is going around talking about degrees. And I know personally many other brothers whose names I don't have to mention, colleagues and other than colleagues, they're not going around flaunting their degrees. You go in his channel, he is not going around, hey, I got a PhD, I got a PhD, no one is doing that. So you're making a smoke screen to keep the people drunk and to keep the people hindered and to keep the people from seeing the facts of the situation. Number three, the third problem with that theory is that if it came down to degree or not degree, when I and other people in Medina or other countries, were we only studying in the college? Or were we not in the masjids, in the libraries, in the house, arguing, fighting, sparring, debating, reading books, studying books? So the degree was only a part of your studies in Medina. That's only a section of your academic prowess in Medina. So if it came down to it, degree or not degree, no problem. I'll rip up my degrees right now, throw them in the trash. Doesn't mean anything to me. We can just debate and talk, and we can see how much knowledge you have and how much knowledge another person has with no degrees involved. It's like a concept of money. A person says to a businessman, oh, you think you're everything because you own property. You have real estate, you have money. Oh, you think you're everything. Oh, no problem. Take my houses away. I have money from the 80s, from other investments. I have money from this income. I have money here. I have a company here. I have a business here. My money is not just from real estate. That's only one section. And if you remove the houses that I own and the buildings that I own, I still got money. I'm still rich. I'm still eating. And you're still poor. You're still hungry. So this is a fallacy that they use. And they promote this and throw this down to people's throats. And they try to make degrees don't mean anything, degrees don't mean anything, degrees don't mean anything. So if you actually sit down and think about it and look at it, every single point of their argument is as feeble as a spider's web. And the only thing that they're trying to do is marginalize people and try to force the people only to take from them. Only to take from them. And to be a blind following sheep of them and of them only. And they have different styles and ways that they do it. And from that is, degrees don't mean anything. All right? And of course, there's another extreme thinking that degrees do mean everything. And because I have a degree, I'm automatically right. Or because I have a degree, I'm automatically on top. Or because I have a degree, I can deviate from the straight path, etc. So we're right in the middle, inshallah, and we're balanced. All right? And I know for sure that since I got my degrees and since I studied overseas, I have not spent a lot of time talking about those accomplishments. The margin, the percentage, the pie chart of videos and classes and lectures and translations, I would honestly say it's probably about 1% from 99%. And the facts are there. And alhamdulillah, one of the beautiful things about this channel is that everything's there. It's not edited. It's not cut out. It's there. Whatever you say and claim, tafaddal, is there. What are we calling to? What are you upon? It's there. Take it. Whatever you find is there. There's no hidden stuff. And their classes and their lectures, it's not the same. It's not publicized. It's not streamed. It's not live. It's edited. They hide it. They take it down. They remove it, etc. Our stuff is not like that. Well, alhamdulillah. So I really don't talk about the Medina Masters thing that much. And there are reasons why I don't. And Allah knows best, but that's what my thesis was on. And Allah knows best. All right, MD from Atib, Telangana, India. Assalamu alaikum, Mufti. I love your durus very much. Keep doing what you're doing. May Allah reward you immensely and bless you with ikhlas. Keep doing what you're doing. Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, Akhi Muhammad. May Allah keep you safe and keep you firm and keep you sincere in India as well. Ameen. Faris Sulayim, Houston, Texas. Can I get the vaccine during Ramadan while fasting? Well, that's a different issue. Nothing to do with corona. Does a vaccine break your fast? Intravenous needles, do they break your fast or not? And the scholars of Islam, they mention that those different shots are of different types. If it provides some type of sustenance and nutrition to the body, then it breaks the fast. And if it doesn't, then it doesn't necessarily break the fast. And Allah knows best. My question is from Muhammad Atib from Telangana, India. Will all of our major and minor sins be forgiven if we attend all the Taraweeh prayers in Ramadan? What if our wudu breaks if we miss a few rakats of Taraweeh? The majority of the scholars say that virtuous deeds eliminate minor sins, small sins. And the majority of the scholars, they say, is that Tawbah is needed for major sins to be expiated. And Allah knows best. Initials RA from Boston, Massachusetts. Should we research ourselves before we take knowledge or advice from a sheikh or a scholar? It depends on what you're researching, and it depends on who the sheikh or the scholar is, and it depends on who's the researcher, how much you know, do you need the thing, versus this is just something I want to know about and ask about. I need to know the ruling on this salah, on this wudu. That's one thing. I'm in a jam, I need to know right now, versus this is something I've already learned the basics of, and I want to get a deeper understanding of it. So it depends on exactly what it is. And as we have said before, لا بد للعامي أن يجتهد ولا بد للعالم أن يقلد. All right. Some of the scholars, they would say is that it's an inevitability. Inevitability is it's inevitable. It's a must for a layman to be independent once in his life. It's going to come a time which the layman person is going to have to use his or her brain independently. And there's also going to come a time in which a learned, independent person is going to have to blind follow because there's no time to research it in the middle of this jam. But I know Imam Ahmed said this about it. Methanan. Allah knows best. Question says, BA from Birmingham, UK. Would you advise to get Subul al-Salam or Nail al-Awtar? I would advise you have both. Both are supposed to be on your shelf. Both you're supposed to read and study and debate and fight with your friends. Argue, debate with them, naqishhum, jadilhum, spar with them, lock swords with them on those masail in those books. Nail al-Awtar and Subul al-Salam. And those are, without a question, two of my most favorite books and two of the most powerful books I've come across when it comes to these things, the likes, as they say, the likes of these affairs. And Allah knows best. FA from Detroit, Michigan. Every time I talk to Jews, they say the Torah is preserved. Sheikh, have you ever studied Judaism, and can you explain how to prove it wrong? I've studied Judaism in brief, in summary. In Medina, we had classes on comparative religions, let alone my own personal independent studies and readings and documentaries, etc. I'm at any level learned of Judaism, specialist in Judaism, scholar of Judaism at all, whatsoever. The basics of it, the fundamentals of it, and other things, have I studied? Yes. How can you prove that the Torah is not 100% preserved, so on and so on and so forth? Well, getting into the issue of what is and what isn't preserved can be a very long, lengthy discussion. What's important is you have to gauge who the person is that you're speaking to. Are they learned, or are they a general follower? Are they open-minded, or are they more closed-minded? Are they respectful of other religions or not, etc.? What type of Jew are they? A reserved Jew? Okay, a reserved Zionist Jew? RZA, right? The group in America? Okay. Are they Zionists, etc.? You have to, Orthodox, Ashkenazi, etc. You have to pinpoint what type of Jew they are and what exactly do they follow. All right? Even though the Torah in general is accepted as a whole. What's important is there's a big difference between the Talmud and the Torah, right? And I would say is that you can prove that the book, the Torah, has not been preserved by what the Quran says, if they're willing to listen. They may not have heard of those Quranic verses. The Quran came afterwards. The Quran clearly affirms and confirms things in the Torah. Clearly, historically, the Quran came after the Torah. And the Quran clearly states what was preserved, how the rabbis, the monks, they played around with it. They took their lords, or their rabbis and scholars, and their monks as lords, etc. And how they were they were entrusted to the Quran. They were the Torah, excuse me. They were witnesses. And that says a lot. And if they need more proof, then you just historically show them. And go to what scholars of the Jews say about this teaching, this interpretation, so on and so forth. The general concept is that the Muslims are the only followers of a religion, the only adherents of a religion who believe wholeheartedly in the divinity of their entire book, that is divine. Okay, and there are other religions, they believe that God sent this down, the gods said this, these are the sagas of Thor and Odin and Flan and Flan and Flan. But no other religion, their followers will claim, regardless whether you believe it or not, what we claim is that our book is 101% the word of God. Christians don't believe that. They'll tell you that the Bible has teachings of this disciple and this, and Jesus said that, the God, Father said this, etc. Jews would tell you that, of what the Torah is and what it is not, so on and so forth. And Allah knows best. Next question says, IAA from London, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What do you do if you forgot to blow water in and out of your nose and mouth when making ghusl and realizing this after you have dried yourself? Go back and make a quick ghusl again, inshallah. Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sheikh, what scholars should we listen to? Listen to the scholars that are calling you to the Quran and Sunnah. Usman Farouk, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sheikh from Punjab, Pakistan. How can I clean up my heart from hasad, jealousy, or anger, no tawakkul, no sabr, and become a better person? Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Read the books of Ibn Qayyim, rahimahullah ta'ala, whether it's in English, Arabic, whether it's in Urdu or Hindi or Punjab or whatever language you find them in, and Allah knows best. Initials LE from Houston, Texas. Mufti, can you please debate Spubs and finish them because they're making the Ummah divide? What do you think? May Allah make it easy for us all. I mean, طيب. Norris Smith Jr. May Allah reward you. I left Philly a Christian and I returned a Muslim. Inshallah. Inshallah ta'ala. Welcome to Islam. Bidnillah. UA from London. What is the balance that a person should have when it comes to evil eye when there are signs that they have been afflicted? Simple. The evil eye is true. Al-ainu haq. As the Prophet ﷺ said, the ayn is true. Some people call it the nazar. Whatever you call it, it's true. So there is no balance when it comes to it being true. It's true. Now, does that mean that everyone gives it to you? You never get sick based off of anything else? It's always ayn? Not necessarily. There's a balance. Whatever's in Quran and Sunnah, you take. Whatever's of reality is proven that the evil eye is real. You take. And you don't deny reality. And that which is not proven by Quran and Sunnah, it's not proven by reality, you don't have to take. And of course, you don't worry yourself and busy yourself with it day and night, thinking and fearing it. Those are all from the reasons of it, hasad having a greater effect upon you. Allah knows best. I'll tell you, FA from Detroit, Michigan is skinny. Is skinny, and I'm wondering if it's permissible to overeat as a skinny guy to gain weight. Is it considered overeating? First and foremost, there's nothing wrong with being skinny. If you're naturally skinny, that's how Allah created you, alhamdulillah. There are people that have muscles. There are people that are obese. There are people that are, big and brolic, and they want to be skinny. They want to be slim and trim and thin. There's nothing wrong with that. That's how Allah made you. What's important is, what does the skinniness prevent you from? Does the skinniness prevent you from praying, making hajj, fasting? Does the skinniness prevent you from defending yourself? If you're skinny, you have a child, you can't pick up a baby, or you're too skinny to have a baby or to get married. Does skinniness prevent you from working? What does skinniness stop you from in life? If you have a functional life being skinny, why do you have to gain weight? If you're insecure or you feel like you're underweight, etc., inshallah, do what you can to gain weight. But don't kill yourself over it. Don't stress yourself over it. It's not going to happen unless Allah wills. You're not going to gain weight unless Allah wants you to gain weight. So you can eat this, have carbohydrates, you can have ice cream and this cake and this sugar, and you can try this diet plan and stop drinking caffeine, and you still may not gain weight, metabolism, etc. So you got to be pleased with what Allah has given you. You have to be pleased with what Allah has given you. That's number one. Number two is that if you feel that you have to gain weight, seek Allah's help and look after the things, do the things that you can to possibly put on some weight. And Allah knows best, but don't get caught up in how a person looks at you, what you're supposed to be. And be careful. Many people, they make jokes about this. They say, oh, you're skinny. Oh, I'm going to do this. Okay, for example, my beard. I have different brothers, whether they're friends or people that I don't even know. Say, oh, Sheikh, I'm going to buy some oil for your beard. Or, Sheikh, do you shave your beard? Why do you shave your beard? Why do you trim your beard? Or, you got to have a bigger beard. Or, Mufti, you got to comb your beard, put some olive oil in it. Says who? Why do I have to have a bigger beard? Why? Based off of what? What does me having a small beard prevent me from? If I have more hair on my face, what is that going to get me? Me shaving my face? Haram, for sure. But if this is where all my beard grows, what's the issue? Why am I going to be insecure? Oh, man, I don't have a beard. I'm a grown man. I have all these kids. I'm a speaker. I've graduated. I'm supposed to be a sheikh. I don't have a beard. I'm insufficient. Lie. Allah makes you unique. You take it for what it is. Don't get caught up. Never get caught up and tied up with what the next man is thinking about you. And what the next person feels about you and what you should be. Be yourself. All right? Keep it real with yourself. And that's it. That's all you have to do, inshallah. Question says, AW from Ontario, Canada. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If someone stole a book that cost around $10 many years ago from a place he found it in a building, what should be done about it now? Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Give the $10 in sadaqah as a means of expiation, and Allah knows best. ZH from Chicago, Illinois. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mufti, is one salafiyya valid if they support the Khawarij, as we see from some du'at and Shaykh Jazakallahu khairan? Question should be, is one's Islam valid? Is one's practice of the Sunnah valid if they do something that goes against Quran and Hadith? What's important is these different terms and words: Salafiyya, Khawarij, Du'at, Mashaykh, etc., etc. Inna dina inda Allahi al-Islam. The religion that is considered to Allah is Islam. Best. So check your Islam, your submission to Allah through Quran, through Sunnah. The Quran and the Sunnah cannot be understood and practiced by a people better than the Salaf. But it's Islam. That's what it is. That's what Allah called it. It is Al-Islam. All right? And anyone, any group, regardless of their name and their status and their rank and their ethnicity, if they oppose the clear-cut Quran and Sunnah, you stay away from them and you don't support them. But beware of calling people names and talking about things that you do not have the proper knowledge and in-depth understanding of. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Next question says, question comes from Initials. Says Azeri Bro, UAE, Abu Dhabi. Where your initials at, Habibi? The initials, inshallah. Tayyib. Houston, Texas, LE. If my black friends allow me to say the N-word, can I say it with their permission, or should I avoid it since I'm a white guy? Well, we've been asked about this before, and this is funny to me. I have reasons why I consider it to be a funny question. I mean, let's keep it real, all right? No one can deny the reality of the evolution of the N-word. No one can deny it. Whether we talk about the word black in Spanish or Latin or Portuguese, negro or negra, okay, meaning black. And some people say that African slaves were first called the N-word because their skin was dark in comparison to it being white or yellow or red, etc. Okay, black. Okay, people would come from today, Montenegro, right? Black Mountain. To this day, you buy a box of crayons from a store in which is predominantly Hispanic people, is going to say negra. Okay, that's a color. All right, and then obviously that the Spanish, the Portuguese coming to South America, obviously wasn't called South America then, the Caribbean, etc., and the Americas, the New World, and calling different slaves different names. And then the people coming from England and Ireland and Scotland and France and Germany and Italy, etc. All right. And then English being the dominant force of North America with the different wars with the French and the Spanish, so on and so forth. Right. Independent wars. And people speaking English saying nigger. And then obviously after the emancipation of the slaves, Jim Crow laws and the NAACP, for example, and the different Booker T. Washingtons and Marcus Garveys. All right, these different revolutionaries and visionaries and pioneers of civil rights movement and development of the Negro race. If you look in the 20s and the 30s, they used the term Negro. Blacks themselves used the term. It wasn't offensive. And then after that, the different evolutions of the word and of the term and pop culture and the media, songs and movies. Yo, that's my nigga. That's my nigga right there. Yo, nigga, so on and so forth. It became something that it originally wasn't. And black people call other people a nigga and not a nigger. Okay? And then you have the concept of people being in the hood from Puerto Rico and from Dominican Republic. And they're raised with black people. His skin is dark, my skin is light. He has this type of hair, I have this type of hair. Say, yo, that's my nigga. This nigga better not play with me. I'm this nigga up. And he's Hispanic, Puerto Rican and Dominican. And everybody accepts that from him. And the other evolutions of white people around black people, Hispanic people. And the word is used and it's accepted. Because we talking about Fulan, such a man, he blacker than me. He's hood. His eyes are blue. His skin is pale white. His hair is brown. But I look at him no differently than I look at somebody else. Or he's just because he's Puerto Rican, that don't mean he ain't black, meaning the culture, the inner urban culture, let alone how thorough he is as a person. He can say it just like a black person can say it. I'm closer friends with this white person or Hispanic person than I am with a black person. So I think that when people talk about the N-word, a big mistake that people make is ignoring the evolution of the term. And you cannot do that. Okay? All right? You cannot ignore the evolution of the word. It is not the same. And there are many, 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 many words in English and Arabic that have evolved. Okay? Such as you call a female a bitch. What does it mean linguistically? How is it used? You call somebody a son of a b. And rap and movies and songs. Yo, that's my, and that's my, and she doesn't take it as an offensive term. He just called his woman a bitch. And she says, yeah, that's right. I'm the baddest. I'm the such and such, such and such. I don't have to mention the names of the rappers and the women, the people that are out today that are popular, that their songs are iconic or playing on the radio from the East and the West. And they proudly call themselves bitchs. It's not the same as someone calling another foreign woman a bitch. Or if you see something crazy, a Catholic says, son of a... You can't ignore the evolution of the word. You can't ignore that it doesn't mean the same, that it's different. All right? So that's step number one. Step number two is, if they're comfortable with it, and they're all right with it, and they accept it from you, and you're one of them, you're cool with them, so be it. Why get caught up and hung up on it? It's just a word. It's just a term. My friend, my homie, that's my man. That's my dog. Yo, that's, you know what I'm saying? That's my such and such. That's my nigga. If that's your culture, and that's your language, and that's how they speak and they joke around with you, so be it. Who is the one that can come and say, oh, you can't say that just because you're white? That's hypocritical. And no doubt when you talk about racism and prejudice and colorism, it's a lot of hypocrisy. And there are a lot of double standards. And one of the ugliest of those double standards are the people that say you guys call each other niggers all day, day and night. bitchs day and night. One white person gets mad, gets upset in the store, and you have a protest. And you want to burn everything down. Well, if you don't want to be called a bitch, if you want to be called a nigga, why are you allowing it? Why are you singing about it and romanticizing it and glorifying it? All right? Killing. And you cannot deny this. And I'm speaking this as a black American. All right? I make a song. I'm going to shoot this nigga. I'm going to shoot him in the head. I'm going to drop 50 shots on him. I'm going to empty my clip. I'm going to go and shoot everybody up, spray the whole crib, blah, 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 blah. And then one white person, police officer, other than a police officer, he does an act of brutality to a black person. Everybody wants to be a saint, Dr. Martin Luther King. Is it wrong for what the police officer did? No doubt. For sure it is. Is there a history of brutality? No doubt. But you got to be a little cleaner yourself. You can't be so hypocritical. In which, black blood is so sacred, but only sacred when a white person is spilling it. But you shooting somebody, raping somebody, murdering somebody, selling drugs to somebody, exploiting somebody, that's okay. Nah, we're not with hypocrisy. We're not with double standards. And we're not with inaccuracies, wherever they come from. If a white person says the truth, I'm accepting it. And if a black person comes saying some falsehood, I'm rejecting it. So you have to take these things into consideration: culture, time, place, how comfortable you are, and what type of person you are. And what's important is you're going to speak the language and the culture of the people that are around you. And if you want to avoid it, avoid the problems, avoid the trouble, the wrong person may hear it. Somebody may get sensitive. Somebody may take it the wrong way. Somebody say, yo, you can't say that. You white. You can't say the N word. I don't care how black you are on the inside. I don't care how many black people you grew up around. I don't care if you have a black girlfriend, a black baby mom. You can't say the word. Avoid that trouble. Avoid it, inshallah ta'ala. But historically speaking, that's the point I'm trying to get to. Yani, you can't ignore these details and these facts. And you can't be a hypocrite. You can't be a hypocrite when it comes to that. May Allah protect us. And Allah knows best. All right. Khairan, inshallah, we're going to stop here. All right. Tonight, jazakumullah khairan. You guys take care, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.